If you're a woman over 40, you may have started noticing some changes that feel confusing, frustrating, or completely out of your control. Things like cycle changes, PMS, or heavy periods that have come back with a vengeance, hot flushes or night sweats that disturb your sleep, unexplained weight gain, especially around the middle, no matter how healthy you eat or how much you exercise, anxiety, low mood, or unpredictable mood swings, brain fog that makes it harder to focus and remember things, exhaustion even when you've had a full night's sleep, or even increased allergies and food sensitivities. So, what do? You go and speak to your medical practitioner, right? They take one look at your age and say, you're in perimenopause. They may even run some tests and tell you that your estrogen is low, then suggest hormone replacement therapy and send you on your merry way. So, armed with your new prescription, you embark on this new journey full of hope. And to be fair, some symptoms may improve. Perhaps the hot flushes settle down, maybe the night sweats become less frequent, but you're still struggling with stubborn weight gain, anxiety, mood swings, fatigue, and low energy. So, what gives? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Linda Vizzoli, nutritional therapist, health coach, and senior lecturer at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London. I help women understand their hormones, restore their energy, and feel confident in their bodies again through simple nutrition and lifestyle shifts that honor our unique female physiology. And if that sounds like something you'd like more help with, consider subscribing so you don't miss future videos. Now, in our late 30s and 40s, there are some hormonal shifts that naturally begin to happen. We may go from having regular menstrual cycles to having anovulatory cycles. In simple terms, that means that we're not ovulating. And if we're not ovulating, we're not producing the hormone progesterone, our pro-metabolic, pro-thyroid, anti-inflammatory, calming, sedating hormone. This can create an imbalance between the two main hormones involved in the menstrual cycle, estrogen and progesterone. Without enough progesterone, estrogen can start to go a little haywire, and we begin to see symptoms like anxiety, mood swings, water retention, weight gain, low energy, joint pain, and even histamine-related issues. Now, the problem, and I've covered this in another video, which I'll link somewhere, is that our menopausal years are not necessarily a time of low estrogen, as we've often been led to believe. Very often, they're a time of unopposed estrogen. So then when we add more estrogen, which HRT, into the mix, it may temporarily help with symptoms such as hot flushes and energy levels, but over time, it can create an even bigger imbalance between estrogen and progesterone, which causes a lot of the unwanted symptoms we experience. Now, another reason you may feel awful on HRT, aside from having too much estrogen in relation to progesterone, is if you have not been prescribed bioidentical progesterone, such as progestin, for example, but a progestin instead. Progestins are not bioidentical, and they often have more of an estrogenic or androgenic effect on the body, further exacerbating these symptoms of estrogen dominance. But there's another issue that I occasionally see as well. Sometimes women are prescribed bioidentical progesterone, which can be fantastic when used in the right circumstances. But if we have a lot of estrogen stored in our tissues, progesterone can sometimes liberate that stored estrogen and make us feel even worse initially. I've heard this referred to as the estrogen kickback. This is often why women feel so awful, and then they're told that they're intolerant to progesterone. Their progesterone dose gets reduced and their estrogen gets increased further, which I personally think is madness. But the biggest reason I see women feeling awful despite taking HRT is this: HRT doesn't address the root cause. Now, I have no problem with HRT in the right circumstances, and particularly with bioidentical progesterone. As I said before, it can have some incredible metabolic benefits. But what HRT doesn't do is answer the question, why are the hormones out of balance in the first place? Yes, there are physiological changes that happen during this stage of life, as we mentioned earlier. But most of the time, these hormonal shifts are simply revealing a system that has been struggling for quite a while. You see, without the protective effects of our youth-associated hormones, particularly pregnenolone and progesterone, all the habits that we've been getting away with for years start catching up with us. Things like undereating, chronic dieting, erratic eating patterns or binging, chronic stress, over exercising or not moving enough, not prioritizing sleep, looking after everyone else but ourselves, and not building muscle. This is a big one. These habits slowly chip away at our health over decades. But when progesterone is abundant, it can buffer some of these effects. As progesterone declines, those issues begin to surface. What feels like a sudden hormonal problem may actually have been brewing underneath for years, gradually impacting your metabolism. And this is something that HRT cannot fix, a struggling metabolism. It may provide symptom relief for some women, and that absolutely has its value, especially if by feeling better, you are able to start implementing some new habits. But it's not addressing the root cause. So, what do we do about it? The first step is to get really honest about your current habits. Are you eating enough and consistently? I'd say 99% of the women I work with aren't. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's completely accidental. If you're not sure, track your food for a week and assess it honestly, or work with a practitioner who can help you assess it and show you how to move forward. Are you prioritizing sleep or are you doom scrolling until 1 a.m. every night? Are you spending enough time outdoors? Are you setting boundaries? Are you making time for yourself? Start with one area and build up from there. Personally, I'd begin with making sure that you're eating enough. So many of the symptoms I see women struggling with are simply a result of underfueling. Next, I would look at the stressors in your life that you have control over and addressing those, because stress is catabolic and breaks you down physically as well as mentally and has massive repercussions on hormonal health. And if you're serious about restoring metabolic health, then I would strongly suggest you consider building muscle, because being underfueled, undermuscled, and overly stressed is often the real reason it feels like your hormones have completely gone bananas out of nowhere. And honestly, the approach is actually quite simple, not necessarily easy. It requires mindset shifts and habit changes and prioritizing things that you may have neglected for years, but the long term results are worth it. If you'd like to go deeper into this work, I have an online self led program with group coaching called the Midlife Reset, designed to guide you step by step. It's my flagship program built from more than a decade of clinical experience working with hundreds of women alongside my teaching work at the College of Naturopathic Medicine. I've included more details in the description below. And if this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear which part was most relevant, and I'd love to hear about your experiences with HRT. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.